if you were absent for yesterday's lesson, which was equations of circles, I'm going to go over problems on the worksheet, and so follow along, and hopefully you can figure it out. If you need help, you can still come in and get help. So the first thing you need to know is the equation of a circle. Equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. You will be given that equation on the test and everything, so you don't have to have it memorized. The h and k is just the center of your circle. R stands for radius. So I'm going to show you some problems starting with number 7 first, and then we'll go back up to the 1 through 6. So starting with number 7, you're just going to write the equation of a circle. So remember, it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. H and k are the center. So on number 7, it says the center's at the origin. So what's the origin? Well, the origin is 0, 0. So I'm going to plug in 0, 0 for h and k, and then my radius is 6. So when I plug it in, I would have x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 6 squared, which is 36. Now, x minus 0 is really just x. So you could rewrite that as x squared plus y squared, because y minus 0 is just y, equals 36. And then that's your final answer, no solving from there. So like number 8, again, the center's at 0, 0, so that's your h and k. So if I wanted to write x minus 0 squared, I could, but remember, that's really just x squared. Y minus 0 squared is really just y squared, equals the radius squared, 2 squared, is 4. Now let's do some with numbers. So this is your h and k, that's my radius. So I would do x minus h, which is 4 squared, plus y minus k, which is 3 squared, equals 9 squared, which is 81. Be careful on number 10, because that gives you the diameter. So remember, we have to use the radius squared. So if the diameter is 24, the radius would be 12. So make sure you use the radius. So again, I got my h and k. So I would do x minus 7 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 12 squared, which is 144. Now I want to point something out real quick. Notice my center is positive, 4 and 3. But in the equation, it looks negative. Do you see how it's a minus 4, minus 3? Same with this one. My center is positive, 7 and 1. But it looks negative in the equation. Negative 7, negative 1. Let's see what happens when you have a negative number. So again, this is my h and k. So I would do x minus h. But if I minus a negative, that changes to a positive. So x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals the radius squared. Radius is 5, 5 squared, 25. So notice my center, that looks negative, or that's negative up here, looks positive in the equation. That's positive, looks negative in the equation. So that, make sure you keep that in mind when you're doing these. I'll do one more. This is my h and k. So I would do x minus 2 squared plus y minus a negative 4, so plus 4 squared equals the radius squared, 1 squared is just 1. Okay, make sure on number 14 you look at the diameter. Number 15 you look at the diameter. You need the radius, so make sure you use the radius and not the diameter. Same with number 18. Use the radius, not the diameter, when you plug it in. Okay, that's all for that type. Let's go back up to these first ones where we're graphing. So it gives you an equation of a circle, you have to graph it. Remember, if it's just x squared plus y squared, do you remember what the center would be? The center is just 0, 0. The radius, this is always the radius squared. So if the radius squared is 16, take the square root and you get the radius to be 4. So if you were to graph that, you would do the center at 0, 0, If your radius is 4, from that center point, go to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, make a little dot. Go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, make a little dot. Left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then try to connect your circle the best you can. Okay, let's look at this one. Remember I told you guys earlier that it always looks backwards in the equation. So if it says x minus 2 and y minus 1, the center is really positive 2 and positive 1. The radius, this is the radius squared. So if you square root that, the radius would be 3. So I'm going to graph that. So first graph your center point. You go to the right 2, up 1. My radius is... Okay, so again, the center is at 2, 1. So right 2, up 1. Radius is 3. So I go to the right, 1, 2, 3, up, 1, 2, 3, left, 1, 2, 3, and down, 1, 2, 3. And then connect, and it makes a circle. And then it makes a circle. Okay, go ahead and pause it. Okay, let me do one more. So on this one, the center, it looks positive 2. So do you remember what it really is? Be negative 2, comma, and then it's just a y squared. So that means it's y minus 0, so it would be 0 for my center. This is the radius squared. So if I square root that, I get the radius to be 4. So first graph your center point. Left 2, don't go up or down any, it's negative 2, 0. My radius is 4, so go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, left, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down, 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to connect the best you can. Your circle might be kind of ugly, but that's okay. Okay, that's those types of problems. Sometimes you already have the circle graphed and you need to write the equation of the circle. So what you need is your center point and your radius. So on this one, my center point is at the right 1, 2, 3, up 2. So my center is 3, 2. My radius, if you notice, it goes over 2. So my radius would be 2. When you have the center and the radius, just plug it in. So x minus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals the radius squared, so 2 squared is 4. So I'll do one more. The center point, don't go to the right or left any, so it's 0, comma, negative 2. My radius is 1, 2, 3. So then just plug it into the equation. X minus 0, so I could just do x squared plus y minus a negative 2, so plus 2 squared equals 3 squared, which is 9. So you'll have to do that for number 21, and then also 27, 28, 29. Okay, there's only one type of question left. And that's 22 through 26, and those are probably the hardest questions that you're going to have. The problem is you don't have a radius. So we have to find the radius, and then we can plug it into the equation. So remember, it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Your center is always h and k. Your point is always x and y. So I'm going to plug it in, find the radius squared, then I can re-plug it in to write the equation. So I'm going to plug in h and k to h and k, x and y to x and y. So I'm going to have x is 4, 4 minus h is 5, 4 minus 5 squared, plus y is 0, minus k, which is negative 2, so it makes it positive 2, minus a negative is positive, squared equals r squared. Well, 4 minus 5 is negative 1, but negative 1 squared is 1, plus 0 plus 2 is 2, 2 squared is 4, so my radius squared is 5. Now that you have your radius squared, ignore your point, use your center point, and plug it into the equation. So I would do x minus 5 squared plus y minus a negative 2, so plus 2 squared equals the radius squared. I just found it, it's 5. Don't square it again. Okay, I'll do one more. This is h and k. This is x and y. we're going to plug it in to figure out the radius squared. So I have x, which is -2, minus h, minus a negative, so make it plus +3 squared. Y minus k, so 3 minus a -3, so +3 squared equals r squared. -2 plus 3 is 1, 1 squared is 1. 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 squared is 36. So my radius squared is 37. When you have your radius squared, you can ignore your point, use your h and k, plug it back into the formula. So x minus a -3 plus 3 squared, y minus a -3 plus 3 squared equals the radius squared, which is 37. Don't square it again. And that's how you do 10-8.